can hear their voices come right behind them.
Everybody have water.
Okay. We have all the be careful with the microphones, brother. Sure. Then we have the setup right here.
Okay. Right here. All right, everybody back up, please. Back up. Back up behind the mic, please. Back up, please. Everybody, please. Please. Thank you for being your voices of our veterans. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me slide back just a little bit, you guys. I can't so I can sit down.
Roman Palomares, please.
Roman.
Before I fall the hell down. Are you filming it, bro? All right. Well, let me make sure you capture the truth. So help you God.
Please back up a little bit. Please back up just a little bit, please. Please back up just a little bit.
Put that mic to you.
Turn your phones off. Turn your telephones off.
Could you give us a mic check, please?
Check, testing.
Testing, check. Can y'all hear me back there?
There we go. Fucking A, bro.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning this morning. Let me tell you why we're here today. My name is Roman Palomares. I grew up in San Antonio and left San Antonio a few years ago. But I'm back here again as the national president of LULAC. I am a former Marine and Vietnam veteran. And I'm a retired federal executive with 40 years of service to the U.S. government. I have worked with nonprofits for over 40 years and I have been a member of LULAC for 40 years. And I have served in every position in LULAC. I have served as the chief of staff to 3 past national presidents for about 12 years and recently served as the national chairman of veterans for LULAC for 9 years.
Thank you, sir.
As the chairman of veterans, I was instrumental in getting the Vanessa-Guillen Act passed, the Brandon Act, and I was heavily involved in making sure that one of our bases was named after one of our Hispanics, and I was involved with making sure that Fort Hood was changed to General Cavazos. LULAC, as most of you know, is the nation's oldest and largest organization, civil rights organization. It was founded in 1929 in Corpus Christi, Texas. LULAC currently has 535 councils with over 265,000 members across the United States. Let me give you a little bit of data so you'll understand what's going on in Texas. According to the latest population estimates from the U.S. Census Bureau, Texas has an estimated 30.5 million people, of which 12.1 million are Hispanic. Those 12.5 million Latinos make up 39.8% of the Texas population and are greater than 12 million non-Hispanic white population. Okay. In fact, 58% of the Texas population today are either Hispanic, 58% in Texas are either Hispanic, Black, or Asian. Texas is a majority minority state.
That's right.
Okay. This week, actually last week, while I was on travel, we received news that Latino leaders in the community, specifically LULAC members and volunteers, were being targeted by Texas Attorney General Paxton, and they were served with a search warrant according to Articles 18.02 and 14, Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. One of those members is Lydia Martinez, who y'all were interviewing a few minutes ago. Let me tell you a little bit about Lydia. Lydia Martinez is 80 years old. She's a grandmother to 5. Lydia is a great-grandmother to a 3-year-old, great-grandmother. Lydia has been a LULAC member for 35 years. She's a long-standing leader in the Latino community and recently served as our past national vice president on the national board for the elderly and on the LULAC national board with distinction. Lydia is a sister of 5 brothers, all who served in the military. All veterans. One of Lydia's brothers received a silver medal for his service in the Vietnam War. He's a Vietnam brother of mine. Lydia started her civic engagement work about how she goes about her voter registration. She was asked if she feels like she does, you know. Lydia was asked not do that. She works with individuals to make sure that they know what it voter registration cards. One calendar and blank voter registration forms. They also seized her certificate. Lydia was compelled to provide her username and password for her devices by law. Could only recall the number to her daughter to help her. She drove to her home for assistance. Lydia's daughter was able to reconnect her later during the day with the rest of her family, and the rest is history. Okay. More troublesome was the fact that Lydia's calendar included information about her upcoming doctor's appointments and prospection information. Lydia has now spent over $700 to purchase a new phone. She already had a phone and they won't return it. Lydia's family has asked her to stop her volunteer work. They've asked her to stop her voter registration because they are afraid that Lydia will go to jail. Let's talk a little bit about the Texas Latino vote. Okay? Latinos account for half of the growth in many new eligible voters since the last presidential election in 2020. According to a new report by the Pew Research Center, in Texas, there are 5.7 million Latinos eligible to vote, but only 3.3 million are currently registered. That means there is a gap of 2.4 million Latinos who are eligible to vote but are not registered. Okay? Every U.S. citizen has the right to vote, regardless of race, creed, or religion. LULAC believes that every person eligible to vote should be registered and exercise their right to vote. That means Democrats, Republicans, and Independents who can vote should vote. Attorney General Paxton is using his position of authority to harass and intimidate Latino nonprofit organizations, Latino leaders, and LULAC members. Attorney General Paxton is working to suppress the Latino vote using a call for election integrity as a veil for voter information intimidation. Attorney General Paxton's tactics will create a chilling effect that will stifle the Latino vote this election cycle. It is evident through his patterns of lawsuits, raids, searches, and seizures that he is trying to keep Latinos from voting. LULAC will not stand idly by and allow our members to be targeted. LULAC will not stand idly by and allow our members to be targeted, harassed, bullied, or intimidated. LULAC is asking Kristen Clark of the Civil Rights Office of the Department of Justice to investigate Attorney General Paxton's efforts to interfere in the Latino vote. This is point-blank voter intimidation, and LULAC will fight for the right of every Latino to exercise their right to vote.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
It is now my pleasure. It is now my pleasure and honor, really, to work with our state director here in Texas. He's our boots on the ground and is very on top of this situation. Gabriel Rosales.
This is personal for me. These LULAC members that have been invaded in their privacy and harassed have been a part of my family since I was a child.
That's right.
And my mother told me, when there's an injustice to one, there's an injustice to all of us, and to stand up and do something. And we have been working the politics because we believe that everybody should have access, and we believe that there should be easy access, and we're going to continue to work on this no matter what this Attorney General thinks he's going to do. This is only going to give us more fuel to the fire to continue to do what we know what's right. We didn't break any laws. All we did was go out there to increase the political participation of the Latino community. That's the only thing that we're doing. So their laws that they want to continue to pass, their attacks on our community is unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and we're not going to stop. Just like President Palomares has talked about, we're going to file a formal complaint. We're asking the Department of Justice to step in.
That's right.
Because justice and equality, that pathway to justice and equality in our community is at the ballot box. So if they think that they're going to stop our community from coming out, they've got another thing coming.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
My counsel, Manuel Medina, is on my counsel, and many other people that are with us. This is personal to me. And it's been rumored that I'm also on that list. And I just have a message for that Attorney General. You can come get me. You can do whatever the hell you think you want to do with me. But we're going to fight back. We're going to stand up. We're going to push back. And we're going to get our people to the polls. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. And so I got a phone call last week letting me know what was going on. They did it. They started their integrity investigation in 2022 under the radar. They've destroyed people's lives with this integrity voting committee that this Attorney General has started. They've gone after elected officials in Pearsall, Texas, which is unacceptable, under the radar. And when they messed with our LULACers, I said, we can't go quiet no more. We can't go quiet. And what we need to do is let the community know that there was no law broken. And that each and every one of these individuals are innocent of any charges. It is clear to us, or anybody that has been involved in the political process, that he's using his office as official oppression. He's using his office to determine the outcome of elections. And he's using his office to support his Republican candidate in House District 80.
Mayor,
And it's unacceptable.
the former mayor, say his name. Say
That's
his
right.
name.
That former mayor,
John
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin.
And so we're here to let the community know of what this gentleman is doing and using his office to come in and terrorize our community, terrorize grandmothers, terrorize little old ladies that are only doing nothing but trying to help our community get to the polls. This is unacceptable. And let me go ahead and introduce other people that are here, because I know that we're going to be working with NAACP. We're going to be working with many other different organizations, because attack on one of us is an attack on all of us.
That's right.
And so this is just not just a Latino issue. This is an American issue. And to attack LULAC members is attacking veterans.
That's right.
And this is unacceptable. I would like to introduce the victims. Okay. Our first victim to speak today is Lydia. Did you want to go? Lydia Martinez, to let her know a little bit about what took place. Go right ahead, Miss Martinez.
On Monday,
Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back!
on Monday, the 19th, I was released from the Methodist Hospital. I had COVID and an upper respiratory infection. On Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, my doorbell rang, and I was in my nightgown, and I thought it was my next door neighbor. And I went to the door, and 9 officers from the Attorney General's office walked in, and they had a search warrant. And they told me that they were there because I had filed a complaint that seniors were not getting their mail ballots. And I said, yes, I did. And he says, do you have the names? And I said, I have a few of the names. And they came in, and I said, can I get dressed? They didn't let me. They set me down, and they started searching all my house, my storeroom, my garage, my kitchen, everything. And after 2 hours of questioning, they took me outside in front of all my neighbors and all the officers around me, and for half an hour while they searched the living room where I had been sitting. And after half an hour, they let me go back in the house, and they continued the questioning and asking me about LULAC members in particular. And I told him, why are you all doing this? And he said, because there was fraud. And I said, when? In 2012? And they weren't questioning 2012. They were questioning recent voter registration. I said, I'm not doing anything illegal. All I do is help the seniors. I'm a commander with the Women's American Legion. I help the veterans. I said, I had 5 brothers in the military. I said, and I do it in the name of my brothers. My youngest brother was killed in Vietnam. He was aboard the Silver Star. And we're supposed to live in the greatest country in the world. This is a free country. This is not Russia.
That's right.
And they continued questioning, and then they questioned me at length about Manuel Medina. I'm very close to Manuel Medina. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I know Manuel Medina like I know my hand. I said, and that young man is nothing but politics. He's a family man, and he's nothing but politics. He is the smartest person that I know in politics.
Hey.
I said, so what do you want out of me? I'm an old woman. I said, I help the seniors. I help the veterans. What do you want from me? And so they took my laptop, my appointment book. I don't know when I have an appointment with my doctors. They took my cell phone. They took all the information that I had, and I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be returned. And they just made me real sick. and nervous, and I have 2 sons and 2 daughters, and they don't want me involved in this anymore. They're scared that I'm going to be in prison, and I said they can't. I'm not doing anything illegal, but they're very scared for me. So thank you for being here.
You won't be.
I have Domingo Garcia, who's going to talk on behalf of some of the victims who really don't feel like they want to be up here right now. Go right ahead.
All right, here we go. Let's go. Here we go.
Ms. Rodriguez and Ms. Obregon, can you come up? I think they were saying that. I want to introduce you to 2 of the other victims of this political terroristic hit job that the Attorney General of Texas has done on innocent grandmothers. And so I'm going to introduce 2 of the other victims of these raids, these terroristic, weaponized political hit job raids by the Attorney General of Texas, who is being indicted for criminal law charges, has been impeached by the Texas House.
That's right.
Has corrupted his crooked Attorney General as we ever had in the history of Texas, and how he's using his powers. The houses that were raided, Imelda Rodriguez is a great-grandmother, age 73, no criminal record in Dilley, Texas. Marianne Obregon is 80 years old and a grandmother, okay? No criminal record. Their houses were raided by armed agents of the Attorney General's office, acting with Gestapo-type tactics against our senior citizens, against grandmothers. Filing white-only primaries. There is no going back. We will not go back. We are not going back. We're going to stand and we're going to fight and we're going to defend the Constitution of the United States of America.
We're not going back. 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 We're not going back.
Our next speaker is our VP for the women. She represents us well at the national board, Ms. Lupe Torres.
All right, Lupe, let's do it.
Good morning. My name is Lupe Torres, and I proudly serve as the LULAC National Vice President for Women. As a dedicated advocate and a proud American voter, I stand alongside my fellow citizens in Texas in calling for a transparent and fair electoral process this November 5th. For 95 years, LULAC has been a nonpartisan organization committed to encouraging civic participation in our democratic process. Fundamental rights and our most important duty and responsibility. The integrity of this process must be upheld at all costs. As the highest elected leader representing women in LULAC, I am deeply concerned by the recent incidents that have instilled fear and trauma in the hearts of women whose homes were raided just days ago. Nothing is more sacred than the sanctity of our homes, and for this to be violated is a grave matter that demands serious attention. I call upon the appropriate federal authorities to conduct a thorough and transparent investigation into the factors that led Texas Attorney Ken Paxton to order these armed raids. We must ensure accountability and uphold justice. I will not prejudge the outcomes of this investigation. However, I strongly encourage all Latino voters, particularly women, to exercise their right to vote without fear. Our nation's greatest assurance of equity and equality lies in what we do at the ballot box. I have full faith and confidence that the women of Texas and America will vote their conscience and make their voices heard. Do not let fear tactics keep you away from the ballot box. Thank you very much.
We have another young lady who has the courage to stand up because she cares about her community, to put herself on the ballot and to run for state office, and who was harassed, Mrs. Cecilia Castellano.
Hello. Life as a strong Latina woman, can y'all hear me? Life as a strong Latina woman of faith in the construction industry has certainly presented its challenges. However, nothing could have prepared me for the events that unfolded in the morning of August 20th, 2024. Imagine being woken up at 6 a.m. by presenting the lack patience. In 18 and a half years, I've never been forced off a job by law enforcement. This is how the Republican Party works. They cause confusion, false allegations, and wasteful spending of our tax dollars. Education, healthcare, our rural healthcare needs help. And number 3, House District 80 is in dire need. There is no good water in House District 80. It is disheartening to see our democracy eroded and our rights infringed upon for political gain. The top Texas Republican leaders have publicly endorsed my opponent, and it is clear that the Atascosa District Attorney Audrey Lewis has colluded to help the Republican Party. Family and friends, we are literally 70 days away from Election Day. Do not get distracted by this nonsense. Despite the challenges, I refuse to be silenced, and I have been tirelessly knocking on doors since July of 2020 campaigning. And we are tired of the political games. It is time for accountability and transparency in our leadership.
It's relevant for this reason. When I spoke to my colleague, Jose Menendez, on Friday, we were texting each other. I said, well, let me figure out what's going on, Jose. And Jose was checking with his constituent, Lydia and others. And I called down to Frio County, and I spoke to a high-level official down there. He asked me to not use his name. An Anglo official. He said, Roland, Senator, I'll tell the net effect of what this does. And we've seen this show from this crooked Ken Paxton over and over again. And it is only voter suppression and voter intimidation. The net effect of what this does, this man told me, this white man told me, he says, it keeps Latinos from voting, Senator. This guy's actions is scaring people in Frio County from even voting. That is their tactic, that is their intent, and that is what they are trying to do. But I want you to understand the tactics. Lydia didn't tell you she was in her bata. That means the bathrobe for those of you that are linguistically challenged. She asked to change into some clothes, and they said, no, you may not. We have one of the persons that had investigators from the AG's office and Texas Rangers pointing AR-15s at him. What the Texas Rangers couldn't do in Uvalde, Texas, they stood in front of these people's houses in the middle of the night and in the morning threatening all sorts of action if they didn't comply, if they didn't give them their cell phone. I want to tell you this. I want to remind you about our indicted felon on probation. He likes to say deferred adjudication, same difference. Attorney General Ken Paxton. He is a crook. He can sue me if he doesn't like that phrase. He is a crook. He was indicted for securities fraud. But hold on, here's what I have to say about this. When the FBI came to his house and knocked on his door on multiple times, and when the police showed up and went to his office on multiple occasions and knocked on his door, nobody pointed a gun at him. Lock him up! Nobody pointed a gun at him. And yet, he is pointing a gun and intimidating our abuelitas. Ya es tiempo, latinos, que levantemos la cabeza y vayamos a votar contra lo que está sucediendo hoy. I'm going to bring up Jose right now, because Jose and I talked about something we're going to do later on this afternoon, and that's send a letter to Dan Patrick. And they demand a Senate investigation into voter intimidation of Latinos. Latinos along the border that they claim to represent, they don't have our backs, not now, not ever. And so Jose was kind enough to lead that with me. He's going to come up and say a few words.
Vote in the Texas House passed or failed, and they know that this is so important to the governor that they'll do anything it takes. And so we definitely have to as Latinos, we got to realize this, folks. They don't mind when Latinos show up to enlist in the Marines, in the Army, in the Navy, in the Air Force. They take everybody on the front lines. If you look at casualties in Vietnam, Latinos were overrepresented. Edgewood sent more kids to pass away in Vietnam who never came back. So we cannot allow them to use our young men and women and then disrespect us when it comes time to vote. There's a phrase you hear in Austin, Texas, and it gets said, and I want them to hear this. If you don't respect us, you need to expect us. They're not respecting our people, and they need to expect us. Roland and many others like ourselves are going to stand up and fight for the rights of our community to vote. Too many families have lost young men and women defending this nation. It is deplorable and disgusting that you want to take away the rights to vote of our community. So, folks, there is no bill, no vote, nothing is worth suppressing our people's right to vote. Let's stand up and let's show them that we're not going back.
Thank you, Patel.
Thank you, Roland. We're not going to stop. I also want to thank District 15 for all the membership that's out here standing behind us, especially my district director, Elisa Thomas. Lisa, did you want to say? No, okay. We're going to go ahead. Yes, we also have the voices of our veterans that have been fighting for veterans, because not only are we dealing with Latino veterans that are committing suicide, then we have to put up with this. May I please introduce to you Stephen Price, LULAC member and voices of our veterans.
Let me see if you can hear me. Hello. Senator Menendez, thanks for the notice on the veterans. Question for you. How many military members have died for democracy in this country? Anybody know the number? It's close to 1.5 million veterans have given their lives for democracy in this country. 18 to 22 are taking their lives every day. The reason they're taking their lives is because people are not focusing on the policies that affect our veterans. Our politicians can't seem to get along well enough to take the time to sit down and stop the mass epidemic of suicide. Senator, what I said, politics versus policy. We can't get our politicians to take the time to sit down and stop what's happening to our veterans in this nation. So I ask you and implore you, what Paxton is trying to do is not only address and attack our female Latina representative, a young lady that came to me and asked me to support her for election. Now we're going to take her down. She can't represent our veterans. If she can't stand up for the policies that protect our veterans, then how are these veterans going to start taking care of themselves? So I implore you guys, please focus on the policies, not the politics.
Thank you.
This wraps up our press conference. I want to thank the press for being here. Feel free.
The Silver Star. And I feel that my brothers fought for this country so we could have a free country. And we were supposed to live in the greatest country, the United States of America. And here I am in San Antonio, where I was born. I'm not an immigrant. I was born here. And here I am, an old woman, helping seniors and veterans. I'm a commander with the women's chapter in GI American Legion. And I help veterans because of my brothers. And here I am in San Antonio being harassed by these people. Why?
Where is your
It's Gestapo style. I live behind Lee High School.
How does it make you feel that you're being associated with voter fraud registration?
Horrible, because I'm not guilty of any voter fraud. I don't do that. Otherwise, the judges know me well. They wouldn't call on me to help them. They trust me because I don't do anything illegal. I follow the rules of the elections office, and I have never done anything illegal as far as voter registration or mail by ballot or any of the things that they're looking for. I don't know who's doing it. Illegal as far as voter registration or mail by ballot or any of the things that they're looking for. I don't know who's doing it, and I don't care to know. I'm not. Wouldn't call on me. Do that. Otherwise, the judges know me.
Being associated with voter fraud registration.
Horrible, because I'm not guilty of any voter fraud.
Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay.